Hi, this is Ben from 561 Music Podcast. Right now, we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It just helps us get out there more. It also enables us to monetize the podcast, to make it better, do more advertising for it and things like that. Subscribe to the podcast and hit the notifications button. That would be doing us a really big favor. Thank you very much. Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
I thought it was Benjamin.
It is actually Benjamin. You could have fallen on your face there. It could have been Benedict.
Three syllable. Oh, Benedict. That's a badass name. You should change your name.
It's more English too. It's surprising I'm not called Benedict.
No, you should change your name. Okay. Well, I'm just Hector. I just that's not cool.
Hector-dict.
No, wait.
Let's not do that.
Easy. Let's start over.
So how are you, Hector? You doing good?
I'm doing really good, man. I see that you got some more ink done this week.
Yeah, man.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, slowly but surely eradicating any patch of skin on my body that's natural.
Yeah, man. That is some sick detail.
Yeah, he did a good job on the Disoctopus.
Yeah.
And still hasn't done the suckers yet, but he's going to do them in like some kind of bright color, I think.
I feel like having done a few murals now with octopus on it, or octopi.
Yeah.
I feel his pain, man. It's going to be a very tedious, a lot of little repeats.
Oh yeah,
repeat,
good point.
Repeat.
Yeah, I didn't think about
After
that.
about an hour or so, he's going to want to kill himself. I'm just saying.
No, he's great. So Isaac Davis over at Sea
man.
Dragon Tattoo, and if anyone's looking to get themselves inked up, he's a great guy. He does a really good job.
Yeah. And Tyler Greenfield, if you're looking for black and white work, which I will be going back in tomorrow and getting some more stuff done to my arm. So
yeah, cool, man.
Got my appointment tomorrow,
We're slowly but surely trying to be the most hardcore band looking bluegrass band in the world.
You guys definitely converted me, man. I was like not inked up at all, basically, and now I can't even keep up with you guys, man.
I know it's fun though. It's good fun. This weekend we played a festival up in Fort Pierce, didn't we?
We did, yeah. That was fun. It was Oktoberfest on 2nd Street, and it was put on by Sailfish Brewery amongst some other places.
Yeah, and Zach Jones booked it, I think.
Yeah. From Sandman Sleeps, killer band.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was fun. You know, it's always fun to play something a bit bigger like that. And then we also did the Green Market, we met Chelsea Reed, the mayor of Palm Beach Gardens.
That's right. Yeah, you guys are tight knit now, right? You guys go way back, all the way to Sunday.
I don't know. She knew you already before she came up and introduced herself to you, man.
Listen, I get scared sometimes, man. Like I have a family that's like pretty connected in town, and so people come up to me all the time, like, "Oh, you're Hector," and I immediately like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Where did you hear that? And who's asking?
No, she was really nice, and that was a real fun gig, and also makes a very good segue to introducing Mr. Christopher Maloney, because you saw us there, didn't you? You came to the gig.
It was amazing.
It
was absolutely amazing. If you ever wanted to know why they're called the Killbillies, is that me?
If there's
because
a red
these guys
light
kill
on it.
every time you're on stage. You kill. I love that.
Thanks,
and it's
man.
a challenging thing to kill on Sunday, like at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's challenging just to be there Sunday at 9 a.m.
Right. But I do have a question. Yeah. So you guys kill on stage. Which one of you is Billy?
Oh, I can explain the whole name situation. Micah, Scott, and I, and this guy called... Did you ever know Keith Ahern?
No.
He's a local musician, sadly passed away now.
Oh.
But it was us three who started the band, and Micah's idea was to call it King Billy, because I think it just had, we were playing Celtic music, and it's some kind of historical reference.
Sure.
And Keith and I, almost in unison, said, "What about Killbillies?" And then that was that. So
yeah, it's actually the perfect name. Yeah, it's fantastic. No, you guys crushed it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
man.
it was all wonderful.
I appreciate it. So you are, you had a really amazing career in music, done all sorts of interesting things, and I think the best thing for us to do would be to start right at the beginning and kind of go through and just, how was your upbringing? Were you encouraged to play music as a child, and did you have a musical sort of life there?
No.
Right. So how did it all kick off? Did your parents like music?
They did. I was a kid in the 70s and a teen in the 80s.
Yeah.
So my parents always had music on. So you heard all those great tunes.
Yeah.
I mean, the 70s had great tunes, but also had a lot of crap tunes.
Sure.
But even the crap tunes, were fun and cool chord progressions and interesting melodies.
Yeah.
And so I was sort of reared on that.
Yeah.
No one in my family was musical. We were a
Right.
sports family.
Oh,
So we
okay.
all played sports. I did 4 sports in high school.
Yeah.
But then we had this little thing come to town in the 80s called MTV.
Sure.
I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I don't know.
They used to play music. It actually was called music television.
I know, right? I mean, what's
Strangely,
happened?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But what was interesting for us is that for the first time ever, you can see the musicians
Yeah.
and you could see them playing. And so I liked music, so I figured I'd play the recorder. I played that, quit. Then I played the drums. Instead
Yeah.
of being on a nice kit, they gave me this rubber practice pad. And I'm like, this sucks, quit. And so my parents are like, okay, he's a sports Maloney, like all of us. And then 13 or so, I saw these people playing a 4-string guitar. And I thought, no pick, no chords. I can handle that.
Yeah, man.
But I actually used to listen to tunes, and I always thought it was an upright.
Right.
So when I got to see these music videos and see him play essentially an electric guitar,
Yeah.
it was like, what is going on here?
Oh, that's awesome.
But I saw it, and then I would go into the record shops.
How
where-
old were you when you first kind of got turned on to the bass, would you say, roughly?
like 13 or 14.
Okay. Yeah, that's like the real sort of getting into music age. That's
It's kind of a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but you're right.
Yeah, that's when I started getting really obsessed with it too, yeah.
Strange, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of those things I saw an ad in the paper. Okay, they're selling an electric bass and an amp for $100, and so my parents took me to get it.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "You want to try it out?" I'm like, "Sure." I didn't even know how to. I like hung it around my neck, and
Yeah,
my mom's
yeah.
like, "Do you like it?" I'm like, "Oh."
It's pretty.
But she said, "Okay, you failed at all your other musical instruments, so you have to buy your instrument."
Right.
I said, "Okay." I had a paper route. So I bought the instrument, and then they said, "We won't even let you buy it
Yeah.
unless you take lessons."
Okay.
So there was already this accountability to
That's
do
good.
something with it.
Yeah.
And then she said, "You have to pay for your lessons."
Right.
And I said,
oh, wow. Hold up.
Pump the brakes, lady."
Yeah.
And so,
Killing me, Mom.
right, aren't you going to pay for it? But it was all accountability.
Right.
So I went to my first lesson. They showed me the guy, Gordon Moore, in Syracuse, New York, showed me how to move my fingers, showed me a major scale. And my mom was expecting it to be like, it sucks, it's boring. And I came out, I was so stoked. Like, this is so
Yeah.
great. And she goes, "Okay, we'll pay for your lessons."
I got to tell you, something that I've noticed working as a music teacher is quite often, and Justin, who runs the live music community, always says this as well. It's you got to find the right instrument for the right kid. They might just be having a terrible time on something, and it's not because they don't like music. It's they don't gravitate towards that instrument, And then if you keep putting different things in their hand, sometimes it'll just work. I have a student right now, Sapphire, who's she's played lots of different instruments, but has just started playing the saxophone and is working. Like her whole attitude has changed. She loves it, and she's playing so much better.
I think isn't that from our charity? Yeah, so that's my wife, Christina, who's unfortunately off camera because she's the
interesting.
better looking of the Maloneys. That's our charity piece, Love and Music. So
Right.
and you're absolutely right. She tried piano because her brother played piano.
Yeah.
She tried guitar. She struggled with that.
That's
so
so
I am
cool you know
sto-
her. That's amazing.
I'm stoked that you
Yeah.
guys got her on sax.
Yeah, and I'm teaching her sax now, and I just noticed this change. She was struggling with like note production on the flute and stuff like that, but for some reason, I don't know what reason, just the sax works for her. She gets it, and also all of that time we spent on the flute really helped her with the sax because it's
course.
basically the same fingering.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're totally right. It's really about finding what instrument works for you.
Yeah.
And it could be different at different stages of development. And sometimes just coming to music depends on where you are in your life.
Yeah.
So I remember teaching a kid one of my first lessons when I moved to Los Angeles, and I taught privately to make ends meet. Was a student, and he was a total punk, teenager, didn't care about his lessons, could care less.
Yeah.
10 years later, he enrolled in the Musicians Institute, in the bass
Wow.
program. I'm like, what are you doing here? He goes, man, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But now I'm in my 20s, and I really want to do this. I want to make a career. You just have to be ready for it. And that's why if you have an experience with music, and it's not necessarily good, don't throw the whole concept out.
I say this to people all the time. Yeah.
If you have a 5-year-old and they hate it, wait till they're 8.
Yeah.
Or if you have a 13-year-old, wait till they're 20. Or if you're 40 and things are happening and you try to go to music and it doesn't work, you play the guitar, you're not into it, wait a little longer. Try piano, try sax.
Yeah.
Because you will find something that speaks to you.
So there's still hope for me then.
Absolutely. Well, look, you guys are professional musicians.
Yeah.
You're excellent musicians, and you're also multi-instrumentalists.
Yeah.
You play multiple things. So there's sort of a gateway instrument that's going to sort of get you
for sure.
stoked.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So when you were sort of coming up, so Syracuse is where you're from, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Have you ever been to Funk and Waffles? Do you know what that is?
No.
Syracuse University. I used
Must
to...
have been there after I left. I left
Gotcha.
the Cuse in like 87. I was in and around there around college in upstate New York.
Yeah.
And then bailed in 93
Is it,
and never
was
came
it
back. But Marshall Street,
Yeah.
the university area, I spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, awesome. I had a good time playing up there with my band Sonic Boom 6. But so you left in 93 to LA. Is that when you moved to LA?
That's right.
Oh, cool.
So there's a music school out there called the Musicians Institute.
Yeah.
And it was basically started by a lot of session musicians in LA because they realized that there was no vocational school for musicians.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I don't want to learn, Bach chorales and imperfect plagal cadences and all these sort of uber academic stuff. I want to learn how to play over changes.
Yeah.
I need to work on my reading so I can do recording sessions. I want to learn all styles of music so that when someone calls on me for a gig, I'm ready. So they created this incredible program. So they have the Guitar Institute, Technology, GIT, Bass Institute, Percussion Institute.
Okay.
And it was sort of that for years. They brought on a keyboard, vocal, and now it's like a whole college of music, and it's incredible.
It sounds great.
I had known about it since 87, but I went through my college, played in a band, moved to New York City.
Was your college music-based? Is that what you studied?
No, it was actually a similar school that your buddy Micah Scott went to. I think he went to Potsdam, maybe. It was a State University of New York.
Yeah.
And so it was basically just a liberal arts college.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But
But it's funny. It's all about who you meet in your situation. So there was a band director there who wrote his own music. It was like Frank Zappa meets Mahavishnu.
Right, yeah.
And making these 18-year-old kids play this music.
Yeah, wicked.
And when I was 19, we had the opportunity to go to Montserrat, to George Martin's Air Studios.
Yeah.
Where literally the Rolling Stones were there like a week before.
Wow.
So every major album in the 80s
Yeah.
was recorded there. And here's these 19-year-old kids playing music they have no business playing because it's way difficult.
Yeah, sure.
And so it was something like that. Here's this, not necessarily known for music school.
Yeah.
But you got this one guy, Stan Gosick. And boy, I learned so many things from working with him.
That's
but
awesome.
so then I learned about the Bass Institute, played a little bit with a band in New York City, and then I thought to myself, because I'm so eager to have this career, I feel like if I can get better, then I could promote myself rather than trying to promote this band where really I'm sort of the guy who really wants it the most.
You have this energy about you. Have you always had this kind of presence and energy and drive?
I'm good for 10 minutes, bro. No, I I don't know. Maybe we should ask my wife.
Yeah.
She's always just
Because you do seem like someone who gets stuff done and who's focused, like it comes across this sort of like energy. And, I wonder if that's something that you've always had, when you were kind of a young man. Is it something that's sort of come on sort of later in life, or do you think you've always been pretty driven?
Always.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's kind of you to say that. So thank you. I find that a very nice compliment.
Yeah.
But, as a kid, I was 4 years old and I wanted to go to the mall and no one would take me to the mall. So I got on my bike with plastic wheels and took it basically on like the busiest street in Syracuse. And like the cops picked me up and put my bike in the trunk and took me to the police station. Like, what is this kid doing here? I had, I had a paper route when I was like 10 because I wanted to buy my own stuff.
I like that you say route and not route. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Like a creek instead of a creek. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it was, overachiever, underachiever, the youngest person in the family.
Right.
So I had to sort of, fight my way up.
That can go one of two ways.
It can.
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah, that's cool though. And so you found yourself at this institute, and is because I know that excuse me while I check my notes, but I know that you've played with like a lot and worked with a lot of people. Was being at this place the jumping off point for that, or did you meet some of the sort of really big names there? Like,
Yeah.
How did that?
So there was the realization that I was not good enough to mix it up with the big boys.
Right.
And so I was fine. I'd been playing for 10 years. I never felt that I could get to the next level.
Right.
I didn't really practice in the way that I needed to.
Yeah.
I was fine, but I wanted to get to the next level.
Yeah,
so I
don't we
fig-
all?
Right.
Yeah, all the time.
So I figured this school will do it for me. I go to the school, I'm going to be great.
Yeah.
The problem was, and the school is amazing.
Yeah.
But the problem is that now I had too many things to work on.
Right.
Now it was like almost like, oh my gosh, what do
Overwhelmed a
I
bit.
do?
Yeah.
So what I did very early on is I interviewed all the teachers, all the high performing students.
Right.
And a lot of the professionals who would come in and do clinics. I would be the obnoxious one. Like someone would say, how do you play this lick? And how do you play this riff? And I'd go, so when you practice, what do you do first? And how do you use your metronome? Because I really needed to get the most out of this.
Yeah.
And so I learned all these different practicing techniques.
Yeah, great.
So by the end of the year, basically I was a transformed musician.
Excellent.
I can't listen to anything I recorded before I went there, and I can listen to anything I recorded since.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was really the transformation. And because the school is there and because all of the teachers are working professionals, that gives you this sort of conduit into that world.
Yeah.
One of the first subbing gigs I was going to do was with the members from the Mothers of Invention, which was Frank Zappa's group.
Yeah, wow.
And my teacher, a great upright player named Putter Smith, who's actually a Bond villain,
Right. That's right.
That's amazing.
recommended me for this gig.
Wow.
So it's those kind of connections that you can make being in that scene.
So did
that
you
helps
study
out.
a lot of like jazz theory and real kind of dense theory? Have you got all that under your belt? Like
I'll tell you one thing. Theory is the best thing for people to learn.
for sure.
I am a huge proponent, even more than reading.
Yeah.
Depending on the instrument you play.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you play a horn, a woodwind, anything, reading is it. But for rhythm section instruments, contemporary instruments, I think theory brings people to what they want to do in a more complete way.
Yeah.
I learned.
I was waiting for you to look at me. I was going to say, damn it. I've been fighting this for my entire life. I hate theory. And every time somebody's sat me down to try to do it, it takes me all of about 35 seconds to go, screw it. I'm not doing it.
I will give you 2 theory lessons, and you will understand everything.
Yeah.
Because really all it is, forget all the other stuff like learning your key signatures and
Right.
intervals and other
Don't
stuff.
double
like,
the thirds and hide and string chords, all that nonsense.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. It's just basically you have a scale.
Yeah.
Chords are built from the scale. Period. So all of a sudden you go, oh, someone's playing these chords. I play the scale. I could create melodies, riffs, anything I want.
Yeah.
Somebody plays a chord that doesn't belong. You figure it out. You adjust to it.
Yeah.
It's really all it is.
Yeah.
It helps you with songwriting.
Yep.
It helps you. So when you say jazz theory, I understand what you're saying
Yeah.
because jazz music tends to employ more theory,
Yeah.
modes and stuff like that. But modes are just scales.
For sure.
It's all it is.
Yeah.
So really, if you understand just a modicum of it,
Yeah.
it opens the whole door
Yeah.
to everything. Playing with other people, improvising, making stuff up, songwriting, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
See, when I mess up on stage, I look at Ben and go, jazzy.
See, if you make a mistake, it is jazz.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys just don't understand it.
You don't get
Because
it.
he ain't jazzy.
It's jazz. It's jazzy. You don't get it.
Well, I like that thing that Victor Wooten said, which is you're pretty much a half step away from the right note, no matter where you are.
He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to be interviewing Victor
Excellent.
and Steve Bailey, because Steve Bailey was one of my teachers
Yeah.
at the Musicians Institute,
Wow.
BIT, and then we were fellow instructors.
Yeah.
And so Steve's now at department chair at Berkeley, and so they're actually playing in town.
Excellent.
If you guys want to go see them.
Oh, yeah.
They're playing Fort Lauderdale on Friday, Sebring on Saturday. So that's part of the Practice Warriors Rockstar Q&A.
Yeah.
Because what I wanted to do with Practice Warriors, I'm sure we'll get to it, was to do what I did to learn how to practice.
Right.
Was ask people of a higher level.
For sure.
How
I mean,
do
it
you-
makes
how
total
do you
sense.
do it?
You know.
I was so amazed at how the best musicians in the world really work their ass off.
Yeah.
I just thought like, oh, you just pick it up and they're like, no.
You're just a natural.
So
They're not.
without meaning to sort of undermine this company that you've set up, is there a couple of tips you could throw out to the listeners of 561 Music? Like, what do you think in terms of what what would you say the number one and most important thing when practicing is?
Well, you know what? I'm going to preempt that a little bit too with a kind of a side question or kind of a combination question or whatever. Because the hardest thing for me ever, I wasn't really kidding about the theory. Like I can't stand that kind of stuff. But
Right.
but the hardest thing for me is motivation.
Right.
I can have an extra 4 hours tomorrow, and Ben will tell you I never have an extra 4 hours ever. I'm lucky if I have an extra 4 minutes. But I can have an extra 4 hours tomorrow and think to myself, I should grab my stand-up and I should practice. And I can almost guarantee with certainty that it won't happen.
Yeah.
Just because I just can't find that motivation to go. And maybe part of it is because I play all the time on the weekends, but I just can't find that motivation to grab my instrument and just practice.
Yeah, I found coming from a period in my life that was a little bit chaotic, and coming out of all of that, and being in recovery and stuff, I see it differently now. I see it as like almost like a time for me, like a bit of a meditation almost.
Yeah.
I like practice. It's not that I ever really hated it, but now I look forward to it now. Like do I necessarily always practice in the most efficient way possible? Not necessarily, but I definitely have my techniques. I'll use a metronome, and I have certain things I always do. But I'd love to know more about your process. And you know what? I can learn all about that through the website. So don't worry, you don't have to give away any secrets.
No. I'll give away the whole shebang. Because the cool thing with the Practice Warriors experience and the website is that there's so much culminating on the site.
Yeah.
And I could tell you basically everything, and yet there's still so many more
The
things I want to do.
Q&As and the sessions and everything.
And
Masterclass.
just customizing. See, you two guys just talked about two totally separate things.
Yeah.
And so what it really is about customization and what do you need. But Hector, your challenge is just the language you used. So the first thing you said to me was, you lack the motivation. You will never be motivated to practice ever.
Yeah.
We carbon-based creatures are good at we do a handful of things. We poop, we eat, we make little babies, and then maybe there's like 30 minutes of playtime.
Yeah.
That's all we're motivated to do, right?
Yeah,
So to do anything else requires effort,
Yeah.
concerted effort, sometimes very challenging effort. So motivation, inspiration, it's all temporary.
Adulting sucks.
What you have to do is you have to find something that drives you.
Yeah.
Now, if you go,
Put a Reese's peanut butter cup on my face.
oh, you're going to practice now, big boy. You're going to practice now. Who wants a cookie? Who wants a
I
cookie?
hate to say it, but
No, but
a little
but
candy
like,
goes a long way.
you know this because you're a professional musician. So if you have a
It's the
gig,
second time he's called me that. He keeps calling me
You
names.
are one, and you need to behave yourself because you are a
you gotta,
professional
you
musician.
gotta lay into that.
Yeah.
Because if you have a gig and you have 5 songs to learn, are you driven to learn those songs?
Sure.
That's the thing. And it's one of the first things we teach in our master class is the understanding that something has to drive you.
Yeah.
You have to understand, why are you doing this? What is the picture of yourself?
Yeah.
Are you doing this to attract a romantic partner? Are you doing this to feel good about yourself? Like, what are the basic human needs
Yeah.
to play music? And you got to
Yeah.
get into that.
Yeah.
And then you've got to sort of figure out, do I have any blocking for learning? Is there something that happened in my past? Where if I look at an instrument, are there doubts? You know,
Yeah.
how do I even feel about myself
Yeah.
and my capacity to learn?
Yeah.
Because if any of those things, you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And if any of those things start poking you,
Yeah.
you won't practice.
Yeah.
I could tell you everything you could do. Just do this. Just do this. And if those things are there, you ain't going to do it.
Right.
It's the first 3 things we talk about in the first 3 units.
Excellent.
14-unit masterclass. First thing we do, well, we talk about a lot of things, but, understanding the drive, and then literally going, what is the pain you feel with practicing?
Yeah.
And what is the pleasure you will get
Yeah.
from practicing? The other thing you said was, if I have 4 hours, the challenge is, if you say, I'm going to practice today, you won't practice.
Right. Yeah.
You have to say, I'm going to practice today from 2
Yeah.
until 3.
Gotcha.
If you don't schedule it, you
Yeah.
won't do it.
Yeah.
You were here at 8 o'clock tonight. I was here at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You had to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we were all here. Why? Scheduled.
Yeah.
I used to tell this to my students all the time at the Musicians Institute because these were students who were trying to make a career. And my students have gone up. One of my students is playing with Smashing Pumpkins and Jane's Addiction. He's playing in the
Yeah.
group called Poppy, and he's played with Perfect Circle and
Yeah.
30 Seconds to Mars.
That's awesome.
All these guys, Rihanna, Jay-Z, we could drop names all we want.
Yeah.
These were the kind of students that wanted to get practicing advice. And my biggest advice was, you've got to schedule it.
Yeah.
You're here right now at your lesson. It's noon on a Tuesday. You will be here because it's on your schedule. You
Yeah.
have to treat practicing like that.
Yeah. The way I do it is I just come into work early. I come into work like 45 minutes early and practice until my first lesson,
And that helps.
Yeah.
Now you guys have to understand, at your level, there is improvement,
Yeah.
maintenance,
Yeah.
creativity.
Yeah.
So when you say, I'm working on some things, a lot of times, once you get through your sort of woodshedding period,
Yeah.
we all have this time in our lives, and sometimes it's once, or sometimes it's 2 or 3 different times. We really hit it.
Yeah.
We really get into it.
Yeah.
And then we plateau, and we're like, oh, this is great. Look how good I am.
Yeah.
I'm getting so good. But the getting good was during the work.
Yeah.
The hard work.
Yeah.
When you're plateauing, you're like, I'm so good.
Yeah.
I'm getting so much better, but you're not.
Yeah.
You're just running on fumes
Right.
from the work.
Yeah.
But that's okay because
Yeah.
let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let's fulfill. Let's maintain.
Yeah.
Now you guys are making a record, So
Yeah.
it's so cool. So there, practicing could be working up the songs, preparing them, working up solos. That's all practicing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's like, hey, I really want to take on another instrument. Or, boy, I've always wanted to do theory, or I've always wanted to do...
My hurdy-gurdy's coming. I'm going to have to hit that.
There
You
you
know
go.
about that?
Yep.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. It's
Thank you
coming.
to Justin Hucker.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
his
yeah.
outreach.
Yeah, Justin is just a wonderful man. I can't believe he did that for me. But yeah, it'll be here in December. So that's my new instrument. I'm going to have to
Tell
hit that
Justin
hard.
I'm looking for a G5 jet. Have him put that out.
Seriously, man.
Just
You'd be amazed if you just asked for things. I wanted to get a wine fridge for my cheese that I'm
saw
making.
that.
Someone
So
gave me one. Yeah, like
ridiculous.
I
Saw
went
that
to pick it up.
too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what? If you want anything in your life, talk to Ben. He will put that thing out there in the universe.
Good
and-
energy.
Yeah.
Ben has good energy, man.
Apparently, I manifest things lately. I don't want to curse it though.
Right, you just blew it.
I
You
know.
better not.
Exactly.
So you were saying like the different types of practicing, like creativity versus maintenance versus but and sometimes it's not practicing. Okay, like we were talking earlier about feeling inadequate or something, and so I tell Ben all the time I have imposter syndrome so bad all the time, whether
Yeah.
it's for my music, whether it's for my art. Like I feel like an imposter all the time.
Right,
Like,
and it
I'm
was
just
coming
not-
across before you were like, oh, it keeps calling me. It's like you're embarrassed to be it.
Well, and it's in part because like you keep saying, okay, you guys are professional musicians, you're at this level or whatever. I don't ever feel like I'm at that level, and it's yes, I go out and yes, I play and yes, I make music or whatever, but again, I know zero about theory. I know zero about anything. I literally just pick it up and Ben says do this and I just do it.
Right.
Or I pick it, I pick it up and I do something.
You
I'm
know
like,
more
that
than you-
sounds cool.
You know more than you think you know. You
Maybe-
innately know a lot of theory.
No, maybe, but like things like when I say motivation, like as a for example, so these guys are on stage and James is cranking on the banjo. He's got the kick going. Ben's playing the sax, he's playing the guitar, he's playing the snare, he's playing the hurdy-gurdy soon. Like he's got everything going on. So then I'm up there thumping the bass and I'm literally like 1-5 1-5 1-5, feeling like okay, like
Well, it's 1-5. That's theory right there, buddy.
That's actually
bite your tongue.
got you.
And it's not 1-3. I've been trying to up my game. Okay, so like I started slapping, and then it was like something that just all of a sudden it just clicked one day and it just started happening.
I heard you do it. It was cool.
Yeah, it like all of a sudden just started happening. Like I couldn't do it, and then it just happened. But that's part of the motivation problem for me is like if I try to do something and it doesn't work, like I have a really hard time. And I'll give you a perfect example is the next step to my game on the stand-up is I bought a bow, and I thought, man, it'd be really cool for some of these cool like some of these songs where we have like these cool like droning notes and stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of me having to pluck and then wait and then pluck and then wait, I thought, man, it'd be cool to like whip this bow out and do some droning notes.
Yeah,
and
just
then put
whip it out.
Right, like I was like, this is gonna be a game changer. This is gonna be amazing. So I
Yeah.
bought this like really nice bow, and I researched it. I bought a German bow. I researched the type of bow, then everything. I
Sure.
watched all these videos, whatever, and then I tried it like 3 different times that I sat down to do it for like an hour each time, and each time it seemed like it got worse. And that's it. I haven't touched it in probably 6 weeks because I have zero motivation to do it because it's just not working for me. You know, and so that's what I was saying earlier. Is like it's just hard to like. I don't know. But maybe it's like you said. Like scheduling is a big thing too.
Well, let's break it down even more.
Yeah.
Because you unpacked a lot there.
Yeah.
But every single thing
I
you
feel like
said,
I'm in therapy today.
Hector, every single thing you said is what every musician feels.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things too, with our little mission with Practice Warriors, is to let every single human being in this world know that music can be part of their life.
Yeah.
Because so many people are like, I don't have talent. I don't have this. I'm an imposter. I don't. And let me tell you something. Most of the famous people I've worked with, including people where you're like, wow, those guys are like, they don't know theory. They're in the same boat you are.
Yeah.
They just sort of worked it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? You don't? I remember one time working with Dweezil Zappa.
Yeah.
And he gave me a song to learn. And I go, wow, man, this is such a cool 5/8 groove. And he goes,
You're like, what?
is that what it is?
He's like, okay.
Really? Because see, Dweezil Zappa would definitely be one person I would think would know that stuff.
Knew none of it. I used to teach him theory lessons.
Wow.
You know, I mean,
Teaching Frank Zappa's son theory lessons blows my mind.
Right?
Yeah.
well, his first lesson was on guitar was when Eddie Van Halen called. We'll just digress into a little story, but when Eddie Van Halen called his house
Yeah.
because he heard that Dweezil was a fan of his, and so Eddie goes, "Yeah, I want to talk to Dweezil," and then he talked to Dweezil, and he said, "I want to come over and meet Frank and meet you and hang out." And his mom is like, "You sure this is Eddie Van Halen?" And Dweezil's like, yeah. He had no clue. And so there's Dweezil, Frank Zappa, Steve Vai, Eddie Van Halen.
Oh my God.
That's the first guitar lesson.
Yeah.
But again, because he had music all around him, guitar, musicians, he accumulated this knowledge. But he didn't.
But like osmosis almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also hard work.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that people don't get. I have to unpack you for a moment now. We got to go back to this. So the imposter syndrome, first of all, you might want to seriously just consider where that comes from, how it applies to your music. But it's also a great driving mechanism to keep you a little bit unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Because no musician is ever truly
Right.
satisfied.
For sure.
You strive and you never arrive. As soon as you get to the mountaintop, you're like, yeah, I can do this. Ooh, hurdy-gurdy. Or, I want to slap. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, part of the issue, though, is and I'm going to assume that a lot of musicians go through this, is, I've always tried to surround myself, whether it's a band situation or a jam situation, I've always tried to surround myself with better musicians.
Beautiful.
And it's always elevated me and made me. And it's not that I worked harder per se, because clearly I don't practice. But it has made me a better musician each time. Each situation I've been in, it's made me a better musician. But the other side of the coin is I'm surrounded by better musicians, so you always feel inferior. So
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is, too, if they're allowing you to play with them, it can't be all
It
that
says
bad,
something.
right?
I pay Ben a lot of money, though.
Well, now that is
If
true.
only I pay you.
He's put it all into his wardrobe, as you can see.
Yeah, definitely.
But
His tattoos.
But I think that, you said that, and you also said something great, which everyone goes through. I tried it 3 times, and I wasn't great.
Yeah.
It's like, now, you have to also think back on your past successes. So, for me, having played a little upright, and bowing is the worst.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing from everybody.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
But it should be the first thing one learns.
Yeah.
And my friend Putter Smith said, yeah, all we're going to do is bowing. I'm like,
Right.
I want to thump bowing. And I took it for 3 months, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'll go back. I think I'll learn guitar and bass and whatever. But a lot of people do that. They try it a few times, and they have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, you're not on a timeline.
Almost all my adult students, that's how it goes. They don't get it.
Adults are the worst.
Yeah, if they don't get it really, really quickly,
100%.
then they're just like, and they keep looking at me and being like, "Oh, you make it look so easy." I'm like, "Are you kidding? I've been doing this since I was like 12 years old, and I've worked my ass off."
Yeah.
There's work involved here.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And it really is. It looks easy. You make it look easy. It's not easy. I can't do it. You're better. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And one of the first things we teach people, again, in Practice Warriors is there is no such thing as easy, and there's no such thing as hard.
Yeah.
You get rid of those words and you replace them with familiar and unfamiliar.
Yeah.
So I bet the first time you grabbed an upright bass, you're like, gee, this is hard. And then after working through stuff gradually, it became easy. But it was never easy or hard to begin with. It just is what it is.
First time I played
Yeah.
the upright bass, Ben came, I bought it, and it sat in the house for 3 months. I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it. I kept looking at it like it was like oh, I can't. No.
Did you play what did you play before?
Electric bass.
Okay.
Well, in Killbillies, I played an acoustic bass plugged in, but
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we slowly edged him closer and closer towards his bass, and eventually, like, I think we were just like, just bring it out. The worst thing you can happen is you suck, and that no one's going to die, you know. And
No one's gonna die. I mean, he's absolutely right.
No, and
what's
he is
the worst that's gonna happen?
He is, and I didn't. He kept saying, bring it out. What's the worst can happen? And I kept saying, no, not until I'm ready, not until I'm, this virtuoso on upright bass. And finally, I brought it out to I think it was DOS or something over in Singer Island, the old DOS there. And yeah, I mean,
you were sweating bullets, but
I was sweating bullets, and I made a ton of mistakes. But at the end of the night, I was like a 5-year-old. I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Exactly.
I mean, I did the same thing when I picked up 5-string bass. Yeah. I took it on tour with me. It's the only bass I had. When I wanted to really get my fretless playing together, I took it on tour.
Yeah.
I'm like, just like you, just go.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool thing. Again, it was because you were good at something, you expected that to translate immediately.
Sure.
To something that's it's called the bass, and it's got 4 strings.
It's totally different animal.
That's it.
Totally different animal.
Totally different animal. And that's where your adult students have trouble because, especially with adult men, and maybe they're captains of industry or they're whatever, and they got their thing, and then they come and they get humbled.
Oh, yeah.
One of my former students was the tennis great Venus Williams.
Yeah.
So Venus Williams in there sitting with me. She's 6 foot, gorgeous, fit, a physical specimen.
Yeah.
And she's sitting down there trying to do these little piano finger exercises, and she's like, these are like working on my grips. And I'm like, you're freaking Venus Williams. You're like the best tennis player in the world. And yet she was humble enough to go, yeah, whatever. This is unfamiliar.
Yeah.
I will work to make it familiar. And
Yeah.
if you build on past successes, then you can go, well, I learned this.
Yeah.
Well, I can learn this. I truly feel that if someone can learn the mechanisms for learning an instrument, in their lives there becomes nothing they can't accomplish.
Yeah, right on.
There's nothing, maybe it's ego, maybe it's that energy you were talking about. There's nothing I don't think I can do.
Yeah.
And anything I can't do.
To be honest with you, I kind of believe you.
Well, for example, I can't draw.
Christopher 2024.
Vote for Pedro. And I would love to draw. I'm a comic book fan. My whole life I used to draw these. I am the worst. But I'm not going to be stupid and go, I don't have talent.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't draw well because I don't apply myself.
Right. Yeah.
It's not important enough to me to apply myself.
Sometimes I describe talent as being the desire to do it. Like it's almost like the talent isn't in that you can just naturally do the thing. The talent is that you want to do the thing enough to do it all the time.
Sure, there's a sort of natural inclination. I never use the word talent.
Yeah.
Because I feel like...
And neither do I, and I hate it too. I agree.
Right, because it just makes people go, that's not me.
Yeah.
But some people are naturally inclined to certain things.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, my wife and I were talking about it, a few days ago. Great baseball player.
Yeah.
Made it in the minor leagues. Most people can't do that.
Yeah.
If he was, if he worked at that, he would have been a major league ball player.
Yeah.
Would he have been the iconic athlete that we know as Michael Jordan? Probably not. His inclination was basketball.
Yeah.
Jaco Pastorius, he's a great, bass player, since we're 2 of us at the table. He used to play drums.
Yeah.
And so he broke his wrist and he went to bass. Would he have been the musician on drums as he was bass, or someone like whoever like Eddie Van Halen on guitar? So I think there is a natural inclination to a skill, and then, as you say, your desire or your drive, which I like to say, because desire is cheap.
Sure.
Anyone can desire.
Yeah.
It's turning that desire into drive and going, I am compelled to do this. And if you find that compelling, you got it made.
People come up to on that note, I hear people come up to all of us really, but Ben a lot, especially since he has the multi instruments on the stage. They're like, oh, you're so good and you're so talented, and oh God, I wish I had half of your talent. And Ben always like kind of mutters behind the scene to me. He's like, well, it's not talent. I've been practicing for the last 40 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first articles that we released on our little blog section was there is no talent.
Yeah.
There is no talent. We drew talent on a dry erase board and put a circle and line through it. Just forget about that whole thing.
Yeah, because it really frees people up to. I mean, I say that exact thing to people all the time, but I don't know if they necessarily believe me. Sometimes I feel like they think I'm just saying it so that they'll kind of,
to be polite.
Yeah, or just to try and motivate them,
Sure.
But I genuinely believe it. I believe that if you work hard at something, you'll get there. You just got to do it. And to hear you talk about it, it makes perfect sense to me because it's really, the basis on how I teach is, there's not this weird like elitist caste system of musicians. It's just a question of, and if you have, for example, like small hands, you make it work for you or something like that. There's so many ways around, and I think that at a very base level, just playing some music or finding time for some music is good for everyone. And then if you want to take it, further and further, anyone can do that. You just got to, find the, you just got to set yourself up for success.
You take it as far as you want to take it.
Yeah.
And you take it as far as your effort.
Yeah.
Will do it. Some people, their greatest moment, their biggest goal would be to walk down to the open mic night and play an Eagles song.
Yeah.
And for them, that's the be-all, end-all. And that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge, in addition to everything we've been talking about, is the fact that, one, general laziness.
Sure.
So one has to overcome that. But two, the faith in the process.
Yeah.
We can struggle as humans with anything.
Yeah.
As long as we know there is meaning. There's meaning to our struggle. So if someone goes, see, that's the problem. They look at you, and you sound great, and then they try it, and they don't. They don't see the path for them to get there. Yeah. They don't believe in the process. They don't believe in themselves. So it's almost cool, like if we could have a time machine and come back from the future and go, here's a video of you a year from now.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm doing that? How many times a day are you practicing? Oh, two times a week. I'm going to do 5 times a week. Wow, that's me.
Yeah,
so, like, if you have faith, if you know that if I do this, I will get better. And if I get better, I will be happier in my life and more fulfilled to be able to share this with people.
Yeah.
That will also give you the drive.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that you framed it there is totally true because the more focused you are with the practice and the more you practice, the better you get at your instrument. That's gonna make you so much happier, just as a person. And it's something that I'm going to take away from this conversation and say to people because it's totally true. It's like if you succeed at the thing you're trying to do or get further along with it, that's really something to be proud of, And I felt it a little bit in my kind of renewed practice regimen since getting stopping drinking. There was some goals I wanted to hit, like I wanted to get my sweeping, sorted out, stuff like that. And I've got not going to say I'm like Van Halen at this point, but I've got a lot better than I was, and I feel great about it. It definitely makes you feel good. And because in my situation, I play so much music, an enhanced vocabulary directly affects my quality of life.
Absolutely.
It's like just playing the same old licks over and over again drive you insane after a while.
Right, and that's another thing too. You get at every level, there comes this sort of, what's the next thing?
Yeah,
I want to go there.
Yeah, and
so that's cool that you're going through this, and even with you, Hector, and good on you, man, for being an electric bass player and make that shift to upright, because it is not the same instrument. And most people, but I think the thing, you have to give yourself a little more credit, because I think the thing was, like we talked about, you fall back on past success. And you go, well, I sucked at bass, and now I'm pretty good. And so let me try this.
Yeah.
And again, when you're working with people who are learning their instrument, that's the kind of thing you always want to tell them.
Yeah.
Okay, the F chord on the guitar, your
Yeah.
bar chord.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the F chord. So if you're struggling with it,
Didn't I just say the other day I played something on your guitar or something, and I go, I hate bar chords.
nobody likes it.
And B flat, if you do it properly like the A shape. That's
It's terrible. Right? Nobody likes it. But that's the cool thing. If you know, oh, this is, gee, I thought it was just me who sucked. Oh, no, it's actually kind of challenging. Oh, really? But if you look at someone and say, well, remember when you thought a G chord was hard?
Yeah.
Hard.
That's fair.
Yeah. No, G chord's easy.
It is
Whoa,
now,
whoa.
That's fair.
You said, but 6 months ago you couldn't play it.
Yeah.
You said this was hard. Now it's easy. Bull. It was never easy. It was never hard. So whatever you're dealing with now is the new one familiar.
Yeah.
And you know you can make it familiar because you made that familiar.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
I really like this kind of attitude.
It's a really great attitude.
And I have.
Can you move into my house
Yes.
and like,
Right.
motivate me every morning?
Absolutely.
like a personal trainer,
I will-
right?
I will eat you out of house and home.
but I have a great way of, which I'm sure it's been said before, but I just was thinking about everything you were saying, and I just a great thing to tell your students is talent is not a natural state. It is a practiced skill.
Yeah.
So, right? I mean, that's basically what we're saying.
I just think that
Just even the word is-
anything, and it's great. Get rid of the word, break the word down, give it new meaning.
Yeah.
I think anything that just that breaks barriers
Yeah.
with people that are set up either through society or through their own self-doubt, imposter syndrome, these types of things.
Yeah.
It's not for me. If we could pull those away and
Yeah.
allow everyone in the world to go, okay, I can do this. And to give yourself permission to suck. To go, you are going to suck. You're going to sound bad. Your fingers are going to hurt. Your lips are, you're going to try to play this and you're going to suck. Enjoy it. Embrace it. You'll suck less and less and less. And then all of a sudden, one of you said that earlier. All of a sudden, no, it wasn't all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that about the slapping. I said all of a sudden it just clicked.
right. All of a sudden. And see, I admire you. I would love to slap on the upright. So right now I'm looking at you like,
But it was has been. And
Tell me more.
And yes, I did practice, in my own way.
Sure.
I did practice, and by practice I mean like I would just suck at slapping during gigs until suddenly it wasn't sucking. But ask Ben, it really was like a light switch. Like one gig I was just like
Yeah.
nothing. And the next I was like
but see, the thing is,
it was like, what happened?
I'm trying to find a good analogy, but I probably won't. But it's basically your body and the muscle memory
Yeah.
starts to kind of get it.
Yeah.
So it's sure it's all of a sudden, but those kind of sort of quantum leaps only happen after the struggle.
Sure.
And so you got to be the one who's too stupid to quit.
Yeah.
And just go, I'm giving up. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you get that thing.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
There
right.
was a meme that said that, and he's, what, someone was like, what does it take to, like, how can you become a professional artist or a professional musician? It's just be too stupid to quit. That's it.
Just
I
keep
love
going.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
I'm about that. It's because if you keep, no matter how much money you're making, you can follow your dreams just by carrying on following your dreams. You just got to keep doing it. That's it.
Whatever
Because-
your dream is.
Yeah.
If it's the challenge with the arts, especially in the United States, is that it has to go somewhere.
No, I know.
Oh, you're so talented. You should do something.
This drives me nuts, and all of the talent shows on TV. It makes me want to. Oh God.
We talk about that all the time.
It's just one of those things. Like, look, if I paint a picture, I don't have to do anything with it except admire what I did. I can hang it on the wall and go, look.
Yeah.
If I make an album, if it sells 1 million copies or does what mine did and sold 50 to my mom, I can listen to it, I can enjoy it, I can enjoy the process, and I can go, this is what I did, creating art and music for its own sake.
And you know what is, we as a culture, we like eat ourselves with this because the people who are either sort of too afraid to follow it themselves or have this kind of hang up in the back of their head themselves, when they come to talk to say me about it, they'll be like, their first questions will be like, oh, how well have you done? What, how many did you sell? Right.
It's like a barometer of your
X amount a
success,
year.
yeah.
Like, have you ever thought about going on American Idol? That kind of thing. And
no, I thought about burning it down.
but, I'm not a huge fan, but whatever. The whole thing with that, for me, at a certain point, I understood, and it was in my punk rock years in my mid to late 20s. At a certain point, I understood that it's fine just to be doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, we've talked a lot on the show, and with other guests and stuff, and people say like, oh, I've made it. That phrase, I've made it.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? I mean, I guess it means different things to different people, but I mean, the reality of it is playing a stadium to 50,000 people, making it, sure. Is playing every weekend like Ben and I do and making a living playing music, making it? I think so. I mean,
how about we define it right now? We're making it is that you're happy.
Yeah.
Because I really believe
100%.
that if you're happy, I think the reason why we're put on this earth is to enjoy it.
I'm not going to lie. A 50,000 person stadium show would make me a little happy, just a little happier. But
look, of course,
Yeah.
of course. But and in my personal musical journey, I played in New York City and I wanted to make it. But by the time I was 24, I said, yeah, if I played, this is my little catchphrase, if I played the cheesiest jazz song in the smokiest, dirtiest, dankiest jazz club for 5 nights a week, I can make a living doing that,
Yeah.
I would be happy.
That's like, yeah.
And I think that's really what making it is.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who are playing 50,000 seat stadiums and they're very unhappy. I mean, read any rock biography.
Yeah, exactly.
And see how these folks, thought.
Yeah,
that
be careful
that
what
was
you
their
wish for sometimes,
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, in terms of the sort of larger, more successful musicians you've worked with, like Lisa Loeb is on that list. Did you write with her? How was you involved with that?
The Lisa connection was through Dweezil.
Right.
Because they dated for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah.
So it was really her and I working on a song on one of Dweezil's solo records.
Right.
Called
Okay.
Automatic.
Yeah.
And so her and I are on that. Very cool girl, just as you would imagine her.
Yeah.
Very sweet, very kind. I thought it was sort of an odd pairing, but Dweezil's and his brother Ahmet, who was also a guy I worked with, an incredibly wild and charismatic and goofy and zappish,
Yeah.
very sweet guy.
Yeah.
And both of them. So it once you look past their personas of their public faces, they're just two sweet people
Sure.
that had a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
relationship for
Yeah.
a long time. But that was where that connection came from.
And the other thing I wanted to ask you was, in terms of you being on the road and things, what's that journey been for you? Like, who have you played with in terms of like going on tour? I'm just curious about that.
Well, to be honest, most of the touring I did were with groups that you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
So it was mostly independent groups. My friend Lau Tizer, who's a great jazz keyboardist. He's still touring. He tours internationally, all over the country as well. A band called Cosmo Squad. My friend Shane Gallis, who plays with Slash and Yngwie Malmsteen, and my friend Jeff Coleman, who plays with Alan Parsons Project and Glenn Hughes and all these other people. So we had a group, and so it was that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
A lot of independent artists and things of that nature.
That's been my touring, career too. Sonic Boom 6 is not a household name of any kind, but we did a ton of, did the same thing, went round the houses a million times, and it was good. It was good years, but I wouldn't say I made millions doing it. I got to see the world though.
The thing is just enjoying yourself, and with Lau Tizer's group, we were this sort of contemporary jazz group.
Yeah.
For a guy who doesn't consider himself a jazz musician, I've played a lot of jazz, but I would never consider myself a jazz musician.
Yeah.
Because I know real jazz
What would you
musicians.
consider yourself if you had to?
Just a musician.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just and that's really what I wanted my career to be.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be in a band.
Right.
At that point, I'm like, look, I just want to play with people.
Yeah.
And that's why I learned all the different styles.
Yeah.
Learning how to play mambos and songos and sambas like a Brazilian, and learn to play country like I was from that. Like getting deep in those styles.
Yeah, cool.
Because I wanted to eat.
Yeah.
And so if someone calls you up and goes, can you play Latin music? Oh yeah, absolutely. Can you play jazz? Sure, But touring with Lau's group was really fun because even though we were a jazz group, we were sort of contemporary jazz. So we did a show once in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It was Casey and the Sunshine Band, us, and Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
And then we did another big, 20,000 festival thing. And then we did another one in Baltimore, and it's Isaac Hayes, us, and
I play with Isaac
Commodores.
Hayes. Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, how does this work?
Yeah.
But it was things like that. Nice, and we would do on these tours.
Isaac Hayes plays all sorts of weird stuff.
He does.
Just shows up all over the place. I love that guy.
Totally cool. But the funny thing is, we would do 15,000 people shows, and the next night we'd be like in a jazz club for like 10 people.
Yeah.
So it's like rock star, and the next thing we're like,
Yeah.
can you move your drink over?
I feel
Don't set that on
man.
the piano.
I feel
But
that.
look, and that there's a saying. I think it's like a Zen statement. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water.
Yeah.
After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water.
Yeah,
It's basically don't expect your life to change.
Yeah.
With the session musician life, you'll go and play stadiums.
Yeah.
The tour's over, you're unemployed
Yeah.
until the next tour.
Yeah.
Or so I know a lot of my friends who are out there, and it's like, wow, signing autographs, and I would do it too.
Yeah.
You come back to LA, and you're like, ooh.
But there were plenty, when I
gotta
lived
get-
in Manchester, there were plenty of sort of, do you know who I am kind of tragic alcoholic figures. And it's like they didn't get the memo that it's just about working, keeping going, like people for the Happy Mondays and stuff, like wandering around Chorlton, sort of expecting people to be bending over backwards for them because they were in a band for 15 minutes. The truth is it's not, and they were really successful at one point, but actually the truth is that's exactly what you said, is being happy and consistently working. That's what
right.
it's about.
And most of the session musicians, really all the session musicians that I've worked with and met are all really cool people.
Yeah.
Because they know this is all BS.
Yeah.
And I can attach every cool little name next to mine to make you think I'm cool. But at the end of the day, we're just working stiffs.
Yeah, man.
There's a great session musician joke. Two musicians walking down the street, they meet each other. One guy goes, "Dude, I haven't seen you in 3 months. What's been going on?" "Oh, dude, great. 2 months ago, I found a bag of money, $20,000. Cop said I could keep it." "Wow, that's great." "Yeah, and last month, this guy died. I guess I'm like his third cousin. I got $50,000. "Wow, that's great." "Yeah, but this month, nothing."
Yeah.
So it's really like on top of the world, and then I'm back home just trying to make it happen.
Eating ramen.
I feel that, for you two guys to make a living playing music, whether you're teaching, whether you're performing, whether you're writing, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I was talking to Sally Fox, who
One of my former students.
Because I'm going to be doing some recording with her on Thursday, and she was
Isn't she
talking
great?
all about the recordings you did and how much she loved you and how much she loved doing that with you. And we actually had a big conversation about you yesterday. And I was like, oh, he's coming on 561 Music tomorrow. Literally, it was cool.
That's for
Yeah.
sure.
She's wonderful, and she's a great story. She probably, Sally, if you're watching this, turn it off. She came in to do mandolin lessons.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to play mandolin. Isn't it tuned in fifths?
Yeah, it's like the violin.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but
We're
I
fifths.
knew theory, and so the theory is, the strings are tuned like this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how you build a scale. Okay, so let me diagram this out. So we're going to circle back to theory.
Mm-hmm.
Just me understanding that allowed me to teach her
Yeah.
for quite a long time,
Yeah.
because she was already a really good mandolin player.
Yeah.
So to teach her, how to apply the scales.
Yeah.
So again, that theory stuff is really, really helpful.
That's absolutely true.
See, I and Ben knows this. I started. I didn't start on bass. I actually started in first grade. I was like 6 years old or something, and I started on saxophone. I started on an alto
Oh,
saxophone.
nice.
And I, somewhere along the way, probably about sixth grade or so, I switched to a baritone saxophone, which was ridiculous because it would sit on the floor and I'd have to play it like this. That was like a tiny little guy.
Was that your choice, or did the band director go?
The band director said we
Yeah.
need a baritone sax.
Same
And I
thing
was just
happened to
big
me.
as a kid.
Can we just have a moment?
Yeah.
And I want to hear your story.
Yeah.
And I love our band directors. Underpaid, overworked. Absolutely, we love them.
Yeah.
But that is a dangerous route when you take a kid and force an instrument on them.
Yeah,
Because that could
my
totally...
wife was forced to play tuba, and like now she just thinks she's awful at music and hates music because she had to lug this stupid tuba
Yeah.
around, you know.
You feel for what they have to deal with their bands. They got to fill positions.
Well,
but it's a
yeah.
dangerous move. I'm
But
sorry.
no. But the
Go
work,
back to your story.
the point of the story is actually relative to that.
Okay, good.
Which is he had me switch over to baritone sax, and I literally had no desire to play baritone sax, and so somewhere along the way I ended up going back to alto. I only played until like my senior year of high school, maybe a year after that. And then my alto sax literally sat there for years, probably 20 years. It sat there without me touching it until finally I just sold it or gave it to some student or something. And I haven't touched it since. But going back to the theory, though, in my head, I was always like, how do I not know theory? I played in a school band for like 12. They never taught me anything
No.
when it came to theory. They literally showed me like I know that an alto sax is an E flat instrument, and they showed me a music staff, and they were like the spaces are FACE and the lines are EAG. Like that. That was it.
Is that what they are?
That was it. That was damn. I got it wrong. That was it. Like that was it. And then
Yeah.
they showed you the fingering for whatever
Right.
positions and stuff, and that was it. And then you learn how to read the music. But like I knew how to read alto sax music. And
Yeah.
that was it. I had no actual practical theory taught to me.
Yeah, but you have to understand that was what you needed to do
Yeah.
because they wanted you to play in the group, which
Yeah.
of course is great.
Yeah.
So it is really two completely different schools of thought.
Yeah.
Teaching people to read, which is amazing. I've learned to read.
Yeah.
In fact, the funny thing is, my first guitar teacher, again, Gordon Moore from Syracuse, was a classical guitarist. That was his thing. This
Yeah.
guy could read fly shit on the wall at 20 paces.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how good he was.
Yeah.
And and then my middle school teacher said, "Oh, you play bass? I need you in my band. You take lessons. Have your teacher teach you to read." My classically trained guitar teacher refused to teach me reading.
Oh wow.
He said, "You're not going to use it." He didn't know I would be a professional musician. He goes, "You're not going to need it. This theory stuff is more important
Yeah.
for overall." So my band teacher did teach me the reading, but it is two separate things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need you to play in our band. You've got to play this music. Learn to read. The theory is what allows you again, as we talked about earlier, to be more creative.
Yeah.
If you knew theory, if you understood chord-scale relationship, you could have grabbed your alto sax, gone down to a local bar. What key is this at? E flat? I know an E flat scale.
Yeah.
And you could have just noodled, and you would have had a completely different experience with your instrument. If you can learn
Tell
both.
me if you agree with this. Learning theory is a series of small epiphanies where you just go, oh, it's just that.
Yeah.
It's because it's like half the time you feel like you already knew it, but it wasn't contextualized in your head in the right way. So yeah, it's just a series
It's
of
never
time.
just that.
It really is, though. I mean, it is so simple. It's literally, here's a scale.
Yeah.
Starting on every note in the scale, you can build a chord.
Yeah.
Now, let's write a song with those chords, because
Yeah.
it'll sound good.
Yeah.
If you write a song with chords that aren't from that scale, it'll sound weird, or I think it's cool. So,
Yeah.
Jazzy.
Jazzy. Is that what you do?
Yeah. Jazzy.
With the hands and everything.
Oh, yeah. Jazz hands, man.
So that's it. And that's the basis. Now, obviously, music can get pretty sophisticated, and you have to deal with that. But that's where it sort of starts.
Yeah.
And when people learn it, the whole world opens up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Justin has a really good couple of sheets that just he really managed to put it together very succinctly. I love those sheets that he has where it's just like it's like, you know, what you were saying, the 2 theory lessons you ever need to, you know, it's like a couple of sheets and it's like, there you go, read that and you get everything, you know.
And people get so nervous about modes.
I know.
What are these modes you speak of? It's like the Rosetta. No, a mode is a scale. It's a scale.
Yeah.
And in fact, like, I'll say one thing that'll blow your mind. You guys already know this, but it's basically the major scale.
Yeah.
Starting on another note. People go, what? And then I say, forget what I just said. It's just a new scale.
Yeah.
You'll learn the major scale. You'll learn the minor scale. I'll teach you a few more that are just like those 2 scales, but with one different note.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden people go,
You know what I
you
really
said.
struggle to explain sometimes is it's not that I don't understand it at all. It's getting this piece of information to someone's head is that you can use the C major scale and start on C and move it all the way up to B, and you get all the different modes. But you can also play the modes in separate keys. And even though I understand that and I know how to implement that, I find it really hard to explain to someone else.
So I wouldn't.
Yeah.
When I would teach people modes, I would teach them exactly what you did. Hey, you got C to C. There's your Ionian mode. D to D. If you're still using the notes from C, there's your Dorian. There's your Phrygian. There's your Crapolidian. There's your Fallopian.
Yeah. I don't find it hard to explain to someone who has like a firm grasp of music theory, but to someone who's relatively new to it.
Right.
Just,
So I even if they kind of do,
Yeah.
I don't teach it like that.
Yeah.
I say, look, do you know your major scale?
Yeah.
Okay, let's learn that. Do you know your minor scale? Okay, well, let's learn that.
Yeah.
So you get that because that's 98% of what you're ever going to use.
Sure.
Okay, so now we go, I hear of this Dorian mode.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a minor scale. Just raise the 6th note of the scale.
Right. So you leave the whole kind of other thing bit
Leave it
out.
out.
Yeah.
And then someone goes, okay, well, that's cool. Why do I need to know it? And then you go, well, if you play, since it's a minor scale, if you play over a minor chord, it'll sound cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Well, why don't we do it?
Yeah,
See, another
yeah.
big thing with Practice Warriors is we have hundreds of these musicianship classes. They're little videos, and we teach people how to practice scales, reading, chords, arpeggios, dynamics, rhythm. And the thing I hammer is you learn something, you play something. So if you learn your little Dorian scale,
Sure. I want to say I use that
Immediately-
scale the most of all scales.
I do too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
absolutely do too. And so now you learned it, immediately start jamming on it.
Yeah.
Put on a backing track on YouTube and just noodle. Create music like you could have done with your sax.
Sure.
And just do it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So when you break down modes and you just say, look, they're scales. They're the scales you already know. but just change one note.
Yeah.
Lydian, raise the fourth. Mixolydian, flat the seventh. It's so straightforward. But when we talk about it in the way that you and I were discussing earlier, people go,
What?
it's just confusing. It really is.
I took when Justin had his place over on Indiantown, I think it was, Indiantown, a few years ago. He had a teacher there, Zach. He had a teacher, and I was like, you know what, I need to take some bass lessons. And so I talked to Justin, and he hooked me up with Zach, and I was going to take a couple of lessons or whatever, just to get a little theory and try to get myself a little more advanced than whatever I was doing at the time. And yeah, man, as soon as Zach opened his mouth, like the first thing out of his mouth was modes. And I think I took a lesson and a half or 2 lessons, and I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
you
done.
can definitely get whacked over the head with theory if you're not careful. You got to be careful. I definitely occasionally check myself in lessons where I'm like, am I just ranting too much information? Like back it up, like pick a thing, as relatively small thing, and get that ingrained, rather than just barraging people with information.
Yeah, I think it's really important to meet the student where they are.
Yeah.
And relate everything to what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
So if it's a brand new student, well, we're going to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
If someone knows a major scale, you go, well, do you know there's a major pentatonic scale?
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? Okay, well, just do this. Okay, now let's spend a few weeks just getting familiar and immediately creating music with it. Oh, do you know if you raise the 4th note of your major scale, that gives you Lydian?
Yeah.
Who gives a crap? Well, you'll
Simpsons do.
You'll now sound mysterious when you what? And so I think that it's important. I'm very grateful and fortunate because I always had really good teachers who had a very good method. So I'm basically just passing all that along, and just making it so that not only can someone understand something, but they understand how they apply it. Because if you can suffer through anything if you know there's meaning. And if you're learning a bunch of crap that you can't implement.
Yeah, it's like, why are you teaching me all of this stuff? Like, what am I ever going to use it for? That's the worst feeling you can have in the lesson.
What am I going to use it for? That is the last thing. Well, actually, it's the first thing you want to hear from them.
Right,
it's the last thing you want them to think. Let them say, oh, here's what you use it for. And then you give them a good reason. Otherwise, you shouldn't be teaching it.
Totally. Couldn't agree more.
So tell me more about Practice Warriors. Like, is it videos? Is it lessons? Is it like membership thing? Like tell me just more about Practice Warriors.
Do you have I believe you have some kind of promotional sort of video for it, right?
As much as it would have been so cool for the 3 of us to get up and jam and play one of my tunes.
Yeah.
I did just bring the video.
Okay, cool.
And basically the video is what we show people who just signed up for the membership site.
Yeah.
Because we want people to become a member and then not get lost in, interviews and musicianship videos and all these things. We go, look, here's what you should do.
Yeah.
You're a new member. Here's how you want to do it. And so I think I cut out the 3 minutes where I brag about myself. It just basically talks about the site.
Cool.
The site is basically everything we've been talking about is what inspired me to build this.
Yeah.
And with the help of my amazing wife, who made everything look good, as she does.
She makes you look good, man.
You have no idea. Creating graphics and helping with all the filming and videography and promotion and everything. It's a total dual thing,
right?
As we've done with everything in our career together.
Excellent.
But the site is basically for people who they're just missing something.
Yeah.
I love music. I want to get better, but I'm just not getting better. And there's too many things to learn. I don't know what to do. I truly believe Practice Warriors is the missing link because it's not what you're practicing. It's how you're practicing.
Yeah.
How are you moving forward with new information, being able to organize it, set goals, and be able to monitor, your progress.
Yeah.
Rather just, oh, I think I'll practice today, or I did this yesterday. What did I do? And to be truly organized. So the centerpiece of the site is a 14-unit masterclass,
Right.
which we've talked about during this interview. The psychology of practicing. What do you practice? When do you practice? Where do you practice? How often? How long do you practice? How do you chart your progress? When do you use a metronome? What happens if you get off your practice ritual?
Yeah.
Everything you need to know about practicing is in the masterclass. And we have a workbook that goes along with it, and you got to do assignments. They're short. It's like a 15, 20-minute class each. And you basically learn how to practice.
Cool.
Once you learn,
That's awesome.
there's hundreds of what we call, again, musicianship videos that are basically these little lessons.
Yeah.
And some lessons, you can watch one video and work on it for 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool. So we have them in reading. Not theory yet, but it's coming. Scales, reading, chords and arpeggios, dynamics,
Yeah.
which you guys know, real important, rhythm and timing.
Yeah.
Also, we have these incredible interviews
Yeah.
that you guys saw a little part of. Yeah. We interview the top session musicians in the world.
Wow.
So, like I said, we're going to be interviewing Victor Wooten and Steve Bailey. Basically, people who've played with everyone from Thelonious Monk to Rihanna.
Yeah.
And all we ask them about is their process.
Yeah.
How did you get over your challenges? What gave you the most stress?
Yeah.
How do you practice today?
Yeah.
So there's a membership forum where people could ask fellow members stuff. So there's like a community that you could plug into. And then finally, we have these monthly live Q&As.
Yeah.
So any question you want to ask about practicing, you can ask me live in real time,
Yeah.
and we answer it.
This is a great idea, and I just think you're doing a wonderful thing. And why don't we take it away with that video so we can see exactly what it's all about?
Take it away, Jim. So let me take you around the site so you can take full advantage of all that we have to offer. The first thing you should do is to start our Practice Warriors Masterclass. This 14-unit cornerstone of our site will literally teach you everything about how to practice efficiently and effectively and actually have fun doing it. We've taken all of the best practice methods in the world and consolidated it all just for you. There's a lot of great content on our site, but I would recommend doing the masterclass first before you check out the other amazing features. Once you've completed the Practice Warriors Masterclass, I encourage you to explore the other amazing elements of the Practice Warrior experience. You've got the Rockstar Q&A videos. These are interviews with some of the best musicians and educators in the world. You can discover what motivated them, what frustrated them, and how they got to the level they're at. They'll give you incredible insight as to how you can dispel false myths, gain confidence, motivation, and drive, and inspire you to become your new favorite musician. This is the only place in the world where you can see musicians of this caliber talking specifically about practicing and improving their skills. New interviews will be added regularly, and you'll never know who will sit down with us next. As I said earlier, you're joining a community, and you can keep up with your fellow musicians and your new mentors by checking in with our Practice Warriors Assemble Forum. This is where you could chat with your fellow warriors, get some inspiration, ask any lingering questions you've ever had about improving your skills, and hang out with your new friends. One of the most interesting things about Practice Warriors is that this site is not instrument specific. That means we get the opportunity to demonstrate and teach you universal musical skills that all musicians should learn, but most sites don't even talk about. You've learned how to play something? Cool. How can you play it faster? How can you play it more uniquely? How can you improve your timing, your rhythm, your reading, your overall knowledge of music? How can you continue to improve your attitude about practicing? How can you get the most up-to-date practice hints, tips, and suggestions, see tons of bonus videos. It's all in the section of the site that we call musicianship. These brief, fun videos will give you insight, tangible exercises, and other ways to continue your improvement. And if that's not enough, I invite you to join me and other members of the Practice Warriors team for a bi-monthly Practice Warriors Live Q&A session. You and your fellow warriors can ask me questions in real time about all things music. You'll find the schedule for these regular sessions on the site. What happens if you can't make the live sessions? No problem. You can submit any questions in advance and I'll make sure to get to them. We'll post the video here on our site for you to watch whenever it's convenient for you. In fact, we'll have a library of all the live Q&A sessions that you'll have access to. So you'll never miss a chance to get more insight into improving your musical skills. All of these benefits are available to you on demand for as long as you are a practice warrior. Again, thank you so much for joining us here as a practice warrior. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact our team. We want you to have the best experience possible and not miss out on a thing. Thank you so much. And now I invite you to begin our Practice Warriors Masterclass. We'll have a primer video for that as well. Enjoy.
All right, guys. So this week we have a new sponsor. It's Bak Middle School of the Arts, and they're having an event called Fall in Love with Bak. Bak Middle School of the Arts is inviting the community, interested parents, and prospective students to come and learn about and experience the unique arts program at Bak MSOA. There's 3 different sessions to choose from, and each one will highlight student performances as well as featured art areas in the state-of-the-art facilities that they have there. They have 3 programs for this. This is on Saturday, October 8th. The first program is Strings and Band. The second one is Dance, Visual Arts, Vocal, and Piano. And the third one is Communications and Theater. You can purchase tickets at msoaf.eventbrite.com. That's msoaf.eventbrite.com. And if you're watching instead of listening, I'll have that on the screen for you to follow. So yeah, check out Bak Middle School of the Arts and fall in love with Bak.
So many people I know, so many young musicians have that I've taught over the years have gone through Bak, and it's a great school.
It's
really
an absolutely amazing school. My daughter went there, and now she's moved on to the High School of the Arts, and it is an absolutely amazing program.
No doubt about it.
My sister does she's the executive director of the foundation
Right.
for Bak, raising money for different instruments and programs and things like that. And I'm always trying to get involved and help them out with stuff. So this is going to be an amazing night. So Saturday, October 8th, fall in love with Bak.
561 Music is brought to you by Handlebars Bar and Grill. It's a biker bar in Tequesta, and if you're driving up US 1, you come across it on the right-hand side. It's a little bar there. It's bright yellow. You can't miss it with the handlebars on the sign. And it has a long and storied history. It's been there. It used to be called Judy's, and it was run by this guy Victor, who sadly passed this year, R.I.P. Victor. And then my father-in-law took it over, and he's doing a great job up there. There is a bike night every second Thursday of the month, and there is a jam every 4th Sunday of the month. If you're interested in that kind of thing, it's just an all-inclusive, any kind of music, any style, any ability type of a jam. And there's great beers on tap, and they're wonderful food. Bernsey, the chef, does a fantastic job. If you're interested in classic cars or classic bikes, there's always that kind of stuff hanging around there. It attracts that sort of a crowd because it's called Handlebars Bar and Grill, so it makes sense. And yeah, you should come swing by. It's definitely a local spot and has a lot of character. And there's people who have been going there for decades and decades. It's one of those places that's a part of the furniture in Tequesta, and you should definitely come check it out. I booked the music for the place and love doing it, and I was a part of helping set the place up, and I'm a huge fan, and anyone who is interested in biker bars, or even if you've just never been to one and you're curious about what a biker bar is about, you should go and check out Handlebars Bar and Grill. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Carver Bar is in Seagrape Square on Indian Town Road, and it is a carver bar. If you don't know anything about carver, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, you know, that brings people together. You all take a shell of carver and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a carver bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of carver bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Carver Bar. 561 Music is brought to you by Live Music Community. It's the place that we're recording this podcast in right now. It is a school, but it's also a recording studio and a live streaming venue, and we can do all sorts of different things here. If you have any kind of project that you're trying to get off the ground, then we can film you and help you put together an EPK and record a demo for you. We can even record, you know, full albums if you want. We have all the resources here. We have a green screen so you can do interesting music videos and stuff like that, and some great equipment, some really nice Blackmagic cameras and proper recording equipment. But really the thrust of the place is that it is a school. So the main thing that we do is help young musicians from, you know, as young as 5 to really all the way through to adults, but we focus mainly on the young people, and we help them learn what it's like to be in a band. So we get them together and teach them all of individual lessons, but also in groups. And when we teach them in the groups, it's not just a question of teaching them how to play a whole load of covers. We help them learn how to write their own songs. We encourage them to make merchandise. We teach them of the things that could go wrong when they're at a gig, and all of the little things that you wouldn't necessarily think of that go into what it's like being in a band and how to be a band and how to be professional. And it's great. We've seen great success with these kids. They play fantastically. And I think not only is it a good thing for people who want to be in a band, just the life skills that go along with it in terms of working as a team and the courage to stand up in front of people to do something are invaluable. And we see these kids grow into amazing young adults. We've had a wonderful time doing this and really enjoy it. Justin, who runs the place, Justin Hucker, is a really inspirational leader of young people, I have to say, and I really enjoy seeing him work with them, and I'm proud to be one of his members of staff. We have it's Yaz and me and Justin and Mike Scott and Corey and Ryan are currently the members of the team, and we cover all the instruments. A few of us are multi-instrumentalists, and then we have Ryan, who pretty much focuses directly on drums. We've got pretty much everything across the board when it comes to teaching you how to be in a band, teaching you how to play your instrument, and yeah, so that's Live Music Community. Come by and check us out. We are at 9091 North Military Trail, number 8, and it's Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, 33410. So if you're heading from West Palm Beach north on Military Trail. As soon as you go past North Lake on your left, just tuck into the first little plaza there on your left, and it's in the corner. Come and see us. If you just want to come and have a look around, we're open from about 2 p.m. to about around 8 or 9 or most days of the week, and then there's usually someone hanging around here on weekends too. So anytime you want to swing by, just come and see us, or if you want to give us a call, look us up online, just write Live Music Community and all of our details are there. The number is 561-951-6902. All right, thank you very much.
Well, that was a fun video.
Yeah.
And so our last sponsor there was Live Music Community, where we're filming right now, this beautiful studio. So
It's amazing.
seeing it, isn't it?
Right?
It is
Yeah.
amazing.
Justin's done such a great job.
So seeing as it was Live Music Community, and especially with your site, Practice Warriors, do you have any words of wisdom or advice for young musicians that are just getting going?
I'm going to erase the word young
Okay.
and just say musicians.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because again, it's the same thing. In fact, sometimes I think the youngins have it a little bit easier than the adult folks
Yeah.
who come into learning music with some bit of baggage. Some challenges, some failures that they've had. Failures, again, just opportunities. And just say, one, just get started.
Yeah.
Find an instrument that you love the sound of. I always love the sound of the bass. I just love that even low guitars like Barracuda from horror. As a kid, I was like, ooh, Barracuda. And hearing that sound, again, I thought it was this. And it spoke to me. And so whatever speaks to you, try to play it.
Yeah.
Find a good private teacher. That is a huge thing we promote with Practice Warriors. It's very challenging to learn an instrument on your own. So if you can get someone who can really show you how to get from A to B, huge.
Yeah.
That person's got to be someone, and we actually have a whole unit on how to choose your teacher.
Right.
But basically, they got to be able to play.
Yeah.
They got to be able to teach.
Yeah.
It's two different things. And you've got to have a vibe with them. You've
That's
got to
so important.
trust them, because you're going to be very fragile with them. You're going to be very open.
Yeah.
And so that's an intimate relationship.
Yeah.
And so if you're with someone that you don't trust, you don't like, it's gonna clamp down on your learning process.
Brings you closer. It's almost like having a therapist in a way, like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. And I think, again, trusting in the process, knowing that if I do this, it will work, and totally giving yourself permission to suck, and knowing that it's going to take time, and to get rid of any kind of a timeline. Oh, and I thought it'd be so much better. Well, you're not.
Yeah.
So that was unrealistic. Let's just drag it out. Don't worry about it. And to look back on past successes, whether it was, I just played my C major scale, or I just played the G chord. Every little success you make, celebrate it, look back on it, because you're going to need it, because you're going to get your ass kicked again in the next thing.
Yeah, that might be, that's one of the many things that you've said today that I think is something that I guess I knew, but I hadn't really kind of crystallized in my mind, that how important those past successes are. Like, the reason why I think, I might have a chance of learning the hurdy-gurdy is because of, I've had success doing other instruments, and so I'm like, I know it's just going to take work, that's what it's going to take, and I know that because that in the past, that's been my experience.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It's really that kind of mentality that opens up all possibilities in your life.
Yeah.
I never would have started Practice Warriors with Christina and think, hey, we could create this global, worldwide musical community, or even our origin story here in Florida of moving from Los Angeles and moving to a place in the country where we knew no one, and starting a music school, and we cut the tape with the Chamber of Commerce. We had 2 students, a 6-year-old kid and an 84-year-old blind man who wanted to play guitar. I mean, you start getting ballsy and thinking, well, shoot, if I can make this piece of wood or this thing with a reed sound good, what else can I do?
Yeah.
it's just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So, could you, seeing as we were just watching your promotional video, is there anything else you would like to say about Practice Warriors that we haven't already covered?
You can sign up with a 14-day free trial.
There you go.
No, actually, we really wanted to do that because we want people to, we wanted to keep the costs low because originally we were going to sell everything sort of individually. Hey, you want to take the class? $300. You want to do this? $200. But we just felt like let's just get as many people involved as possible.
Yeah.
So it's $19.99 a month or $199 per year. It's less than the cost of
one lesson.
1 half-hour lesson.
Yeah.
Less than that. And we wanted, because when you think of music and online stuff, there are tons of people who teach music.
Yeah.
Here's how you play a scale.
Yeah.
Here's how you play this. Here, we don't do any of that. We do not teach you how to play your instrument. You have to sort of know how to make a noise on your instrument. But once you do that, you need to learn how to practice.
Yeah.
Me at that school, I had everything I needed to be a world-class musician, but I was floundering.
Right.
I had to learn how to organize things, keep myself driven, and be successful.
Yeah.
And that's the thing we found that was totally missing.
Yeah.
There was no sites or books or anything that deals specifically with practicing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, it's a hell of a concept. I mean, everybody tells you practice, 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 but nobody tells you how to do it.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
No, there's
What do
so
you
much
mean?
truth in that.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy because everybody, literally every single music teacher will tell you, practice, practice, practice. Like, that's all you hear.
Yeah, and then you go home and you're tired from work. You don't have a place set up in your house to practice.
Yeah.
That's like after we get rid of after we deal with the psychology, that's unit 4.
Yeah.
Where are you going to practice? Because if you don't have a space in your place,
Yeah.
you won't practice.
Yeah.
And if your guitar or your saxophone or your trumpet is in the case, you ain't going to play it.
Yeah.
So we just, these things where like most of our members, they reach out to us and they go, I can't believe how obvious
Yeah.
everything you're saying is.
Yeah.
And yet
That
it makes total sense.
That's a valid challenge, though, because, like, okay, with the stand-up bass, we're not talking about, harmonica here. I mean, this
That's
thing, it's huge, it's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's in the case, it's a pain in the ass to pull out of the case and everything. To be honest with you, most of the time, if I'm not out playing it, it's in the case in the back of my truck.
That's right.
I don't even take it out, which is a big no-no with the wood is. But anyways.
Especially in South Florida.
Yeah, but it sits in the back of my truck. Like, on a rare occasion, if I bring it into the house, like I bring it in and like stick it in a corner somewhere, like in I have a music room at home. I'll either stick it in the corner of the music room or in my art room, my studio. But in the case. So yeah, practicing for me is like, it's 10, 15 minutes just to get this thing and,
But do you
and
know-
set it up and I've actually I actually
get one of
considered
those sticks.
well I actually considered getting one of those
Like a practice
those electric
Ooh,
ones.
I had one of those.
Okay,
I just sold
they're
it.
real
So
thin.
cool.
I actually considered getting one of those because I could keep it in my music room,
Yeah.
just always set up, and I could just
Yeah.
walk over to it and start playing.
It's a
Well,
good
let me
idea.
tell you something. So many people, they if their instrument isn't in their face, they won't practice it.
Yeah.
The first thing you can do, and I know it's a pain because it's a big old instrument,
Put it on a stand and just leave it there.
put it on a stand and it will look at you
Yeah.
and it'll give you the stink eye a little bit, like, why aren't you playing me?
Yeah.
But then it'll also invite you. And you know what? We talked with Derek Phillips. He's a drummer with Brett Eldridge, Hank Williams Jr., and like
Yeah.
15 other people. And he says, I have like little practice pads around. John Wesley, guitar player for Vertigo Horizon, played with Porcupine Tree for many years.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, we interviewed him in his house. He's like, I got guitars everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like watching TV with my son. I'll just play a little bit. It's not real practicing. But
I
he's
tell
got
people that all the
his
time.
hand
I
on
tell
his
people that all the
instrument.
time. I'm like, if you're sitting watching TV, just sit there with the guitar in your hand.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
You don't want to really do that when you're practicing. But if you it's like anything in life, you just got to get off the couch.
Yeah.
As soon as you get off the couch, you will do something because
Yeah.
you're off the couch,
Yeah.
right? So as soon as that's why one of the things we say in the master class is just practice for 20 minutes. Just try to get 20 minutes. Come up with 4 topics, 5 minutes each. Do 20 minutes. Because I know damn well, as soon as you play an instrument, if you start being engaged, which you will, it'll be an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just getting off the couch. So your first assignment, Hector, is that I know
love
it's
this,
a pain
dude.
because
I
that
love
instrument
this.
is a pain. Take it out of the truck, take it out of the case, deal with it, put it on your stand, and just see.
I can't even tell you
Just
how
see what
many
happens.
times I've actually thought about that.
Yeah.
Where I mean, I have a corner for it and everything, and I can't tell you how many times I've thought to myself, like, I should just take it out of the case and set it up on the stand at the end of, like, I think I have, several gigs, in a row the
Yep.
weekend, but then, like, Sunday comes
Right.
and I'm not playing, just take it out of the case, set it up on the stand, and leave it there for the week because
Yeah.
maybe I'll walk by and actually play it for 5 minutes.
One of my big promises to myself in the last few years since I've kind of made this little bit of a turn around in my life is to always bring my instruments in and like set one of them up somewhere. I do that now and that is helpful for sure.
It's funny though because I have way more bass guitars than I actually one human being even needs, but I have all my bass guitars in my music room all hanging on hooks across the whole, and I don't even keep them in the cases or anything. And I do periodically walk past one and pick it up and play it for 10 minutes, so there is some truth in that.
Yeah,
Right.
there absolutely.
I think the thing is too is to be, for guys like you. You guys are different than most of the practice warriors.
Yeah.
These are folks who really just want to have music in their lives and enjoy it. You guys are professional musicians. I'm going to keep saying it to you. And
I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says
but
that.
but it's all like an arrow up to you. Professional musician. But a lot of your practicing is going to be a bit different. A lot of maintenance and song learning and getting things down. So, but if you come up with, 1 or 2 sort of goals, like I want to accomplish this, and you schedule time in your day to do it and do it,
Yeah.
you'll start to create like a ritual.
Yeah.
And if you stick with it for between 3 and 4 weeks, we have a 30-day challenge
Yeah.
for Practice Works. Can you practice every day for 30 days?
Because that's how long it takes to change a habit, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is. They say. So what happens is once you do something for that long consistently, then you then when you don't do it, there's something inside you that gets a little wigged, like when you don't brush your teeth and you're like, oh, I didn't brush my like something's missing in your life, So that's a huge part of it, and the everyday consistency, because we play physical instruments.
Yeah.
So you can't just practice twice a week, because if you practice on Monday and then you don't practice until Thursday, your body's got to relearn
Yeah.
Right.
everything it did, especially if it's new stuff. If you just do 20 minutes, but yet you do it every single day, you get compounded learning.
Yeah.
And your body remembers it.
Yeah.
So you get that sort of aha moment like you had with slap. But instead of maybe months, it might just take weeks.
That's why it was so much better after you come off tour, because you've just been bam, bam, bam.
Can you count? So can you count you're saying, every day for 30 days, whatever length that is, 20 minutes a day, whatever it is. If I'm playing like every Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever, can I count those days? Or do I have to practice on those days as well?
Look, anything is better than nothing. But for me, practicing is the advancement of your skills.
Okay.
To expand your musicality. So really it should, now again, sometimes it's, okay, I got to practice, but I got to learn 10 songs. So that's not going to make you necessarily a better player. You'll know more songs. Maybe it will. But it's all good.
It depends on the song.
Yes. And there's a lot of bands I played
if
with,
if
which
I
I
have to
was
learn
not good enough to play in, and it raised my musicality.
Yeah.
But to your direct question, I would say if you want to be serious about it, go, okay, I got a gig tonight, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Let me just run this or that or work towards your goal. The important thing too is to do the same things every day.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't do one thing one day and another thing. Do the same things.
So same instrument, even for example,
similar topics. You know, so like we were just talking about modes.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
But like, so you learn the Dorian or like your major scale and moving it around.
I think we were talking about the fallopian scale.
The
fallopian
demolished chord.
Yeah.
I actually said that in a lesson once. I said, "Is it the demolished scale?" I never heard of the end of it. But you go, okay, I'm going to work on the Dorian scale. Let's give it a mode. And so you go, okay, every day I'm going to work on this.
Okay.
Play it. Now, what does that mean? So for you, it might mean I'm going to play it on the E string. I'm going to play it on the A string. I'll play it on G. I'll play it on this. And it always means I'm going to not just run it, but I'm going to play with it.
Yeah.
And those backing tracks are the greatest thing in the world. So you play over it. So you do that. Now, maybe you get bored with G Dorian. So you go, okay, I'm going to play B Dorian today.
Yeah.
Or so you just kind of keep a similar topic so that by the end of 2 weeks, you're like, dude, I got this.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it, and now I got it.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Chipping away at the, yeah, exactly.
Success breeds success.
But what if, and I mean, these are like crazy questions I'm asking you, but what if so right now I'm trying to learn how to bow on my bass. So that's something I would want to practice, every day, obviously for the next 10 years because it's that hard. But
unfamiliar.
But it's unfamiliar. But I'm also wanting to step up my harmonica game. So would I maybe practice bass today, harmonica tomorrow?
No.
Or I do 2 20-minute sessions. Each one is 20 minutes.
Look, just practice. So if you're like, I'm only doing 20, do 10 and 10. Whatever you have to do. The everyday thing is the most important because it is building the consistency. If you don't practice at all, and then all of a sudden you go, okay, I'll do 20 minutes a day, 10 and 10. Well, at the end of the week, you did 70 minutes on each instrument.
The nice thing about the harmonica is you can do it in the car.
And you can get creative.
And I can play along with music that's on the radio.
And look, with bowing, no mean feat. So get a good private instructor.
Yeah.
Get that going. Dedicate, a couple months to that. Or you can always, go take a lesson, be dedicated to practice, go back maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, take another one. The problem with certain students, they'll go, well, can I do lessons every other week? Yeah. And I go, no, because you're not going to practice.
Yeah.
and then you're going to be where you should be last week, this week.
I want to, most of my, not most of, quite a lot of the adult students I have, it's at a point where their lessons is pretty much the only practice they're getting. No matter how much I tell them, you got to figure out some kind of regimen. But then, I will say to them, though, that it is better than nothing. We're just going to sit here for the lesson and practice,
right.
Because, and that's what I'll do. If someone hasn't done any practice that week, whatever we were doing the last week, I just make them play it for 40 minutes. I don't teach them anything new. I just let's go.
Yeah, and it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how sheepish certain people could be like, I'm so sorry, I didn't practice.
No,
I'm like, why are you apologizing to me?
Exactly.
I'm still good.
Exactly.
you didn't take me down.
Yeah.
And look, and some people would say, I almost didn't come in today. And I go, well, I'm so glad you did, because we'll just do it again.
Yeah.
And we'll reinforce it. Look, music is there for what you want it to be.
Sure.
If you want to come in for a weekly therapy session and noodle on your guitar, and that's the end of it, or flute, or whatever, no problem.
Yeah.
If you want to advance, then it's going to require effort.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be Herculean. We can come up with a strategy, move forward with it. But look, I taught practicing strategies to my students in Los Angeles. I never taught it when I owned a music school.
Right.
I didn't have time.
Yeah, okay.
You have 30 minutes, you're like, okay, we're going to get this. And so that's, Mr. Practice Warrior.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I'd be like, okay, this is what you should do. And I would dispense bits of advice.
Yeah.
But it is challenging to do. Again, that was the impetus of starting a site. Like, you guys show them what, we'll show them how.
Yeah,
And
great.
everything will be cool.
So we always ask our guests this, and with you it's particularly funny. Do you practice?
Hell no. Hell no. It's for losers, for suckers. Oh, God. No, absolutely. And the funny thing is, that was a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
The amount of practicing and the consistency sort of depends on what's going on as a professional musician.
Yeah.
So I went through 10 years of practicing like most people.
Right.
You know, when something was coming up,
Yeah.
or my teacher would give me something and I do the bare minimum.
The night before.
Exactly. Or in the waiting room.
Yeah.
You know, many times I'm sitting there trying to work it out. But when I learned how to practice, that set me up on a trajectory.
Great.
So there comes a time, if you admire a musician, there will be what we call woodshedding periods.
Yeah, sure.
Where they've spent 3 months, 6 months, a year just crushing it.
Yeah.
That's where the term woodshed comes from. I'm going in the woodshed.
Yeah.
I'm not coming out until I'm great.
Yeah.
And so when you're shedding on something, it's intense practice.
Yeah.
And
Like
so
where
once
Coltrane learned all those harp scales, just lock yourself away and just
lock yourself away and
Yeah,
do it,
yeah.
and you come out your fully formed musical self.
Yeah.
And so then you can't really do that forever. The only person I've ever met that practices 6, 7, 10, 12 hours a day is a drummer named Virgil Donati.
Right.
Look him up. He's an Australian drummer. The guy's like a human octopus.
Right.
Most of us don't do that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So,
How much? What part of your day and what time do you practice?
so it's basically like anchored to daily rituals.
Right.
That's one of the secrets of sticking to your practicing.
Yeah.
So for me, practicing is when I get up.
Okay.
Okay? Well, not right when I get up. Because
Yeah.
in fact, we have a whole unit on this. Is that I get up, I immediately go into a room and stretch.
Yeah.
I do my yoga, I do my stretching. If I'm going to lift weights, I do that.
Right.
I get that out of the way. I'll have breakfast. Then it's practice time.
Nice.
So everything is anchored.
Yeah.
I had to anchor the stretching in the morning because otherwise I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
But so we say to people, what is it something you do every day? You wake up, you have breakfast.
Yeah.
You get dressed, you go to work, you come home from work.
Yeah.
You watch TV, you have dinner, you brush your teeth. So find some time in the day.
Yeah, that was
you
my
can
thought
anchor
with
it.
the work thing is that, I come to work 3 days a week and I'm to a practice room. I'm like, I'd be insane not to utilize this.
So and that's another cool thing. It doesn't have to be the same time every day.
Yeah.
So on the days you're here, that's when you do it. When
Yeah.
you're not here, you would do it some other time.
Yeah.
So for all throughout my career, there were periods of shedding, periods of maintenance, and periods of preparation.
Yeah.
And that's what the practicing would be about. Lately, my practicing has been editing videos
Yeah.
and preparing for video lessons and stuff.
Yeah.
So practicing will take on. So I haven't been doing a lot of practicing where I'm improving my skills.
Right.
Basically maintaining in preparation.
Probably consolidating
videos.
too, because you have to do it in such a clear and concise way when you make a video that,
Well, and I play piano and guitar.
Yeah.
So I want to demonstrate it
Yeah.
on those 3 instruments. And we
Yeah.
have videos where we have trumpet players and sax players, and we have a whole section for drummers.
Yeah,
Like
great.
Dozens. So I try to demonstrate everything I can on those 3 instruments because most instruments understand the piano. For us guitar and bass people, we don't. So I'll usually go, all right, for everyone, here is how you do it on keyboards. Now you can apply it to your instrument. All right, for my guitar players, let's...
Right, yeah,
and this
yeah,
is how
yeah.
we do it. So, and it's not realistic to practice every single day. So you also have to have strategies for taking time off
Yeah.
and for if you get off your schedule.
Yeah.
And instead of going, oh, I haven't practiced in a week, I suck, just go, let's get right back on it.
Yeah.
So, but what is your recommendation for, like you're saying, anchor it to something in your particular case? You get up, you do your stretching, your yoga, and then you practice. But in a case like mine, which is the case for a lot of people, I don't have any kind of consistent schedule in my life, and that is in part because I'm self-employed. I'm part musician and part artist, and so
part awesome.
And yeah.
I think he's awesome.
But there's some days, there's some days that I get up and I don't have a whole lot going on.
Right.
But there's other days like this week, for example, Monday, Tuesday, and most of today, I was working on a mural project. So I was up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I was on site by 7, and I didn't get home till 11, 12 o'clock at night from the job site. There's no consistency in that schedule, and so it's hard for me to say I'm going to anchor that to this, because there's probably nothing. I mean, other than shower and brush my teeth and eat a meal.
Everyone gets up at a certain point, and everyone goes to bed at a certain point.
Right.
No, but actually, Hector brings up such a great point, and I've got an answer for you because we thought of this. So, in our membership site, we have people download a practice log. It's like the ultimate tool for someone who wants to get better. Write down what you're practicing so you can monitor your progress. But a key element of the practice log is a weekly schedule.
Okay.
So you look at your weekly schedule. We literally have it written down, like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I'm not practicing 6 a.m. And we have all these times written down. And so you look at your week ahead and you go, okay, Tuesday, I've got, what is it, Wednesday? Wednesday, I got this whole thing, and then I got this
I got this guy coming in to the
got
podcast,
with
so we
the
got
funny
to talk
voice,
to.
So it's like, okay, you're not going to practice that day. Okay, no, the sky will not fall. Practice tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? Schedule it. What does Thursday look like this week?
You are good at scheduling.
Everybody know. I heard that about you.
I juggle so many things. If there's what
Yeah.
Ben always says, I don't know. Was it
Saying done, give it to a busy
Yeah,
person.
if you want something done, give it to a busy person. So he gives me everything.
So you've got to get this self-worth that your musicality is worth your investment.
Yeah.
Like you actually can do it. You're making time for all this other stuff. You can make time for yourself in your musical advancement. But that is such a great question and such a great challenge you proposed to me, because you're right. A lot of times you look at a week and just go, but you can find 20 somewhere. And if one day is full on, great, do it the next day and just pop in 20. It's again, conditioning.
Yeah.
It's conditioned, just like Pavlovian's dog.
Yeah.
Ring a bell, give me a treat. And so if you condition yourself to practice, you will be driven because you'll miss it.
Yeah.
And that's why we say try to do it every day.
Like the gym, you start getting like that with the gym too.
Dude, the gym, same thing. It's like, so many people, they get the gym membership, but they never go.
Yeah.
But they will hold on to the gym membership.
That's totally not me.
Because as long as they have the membership, they're still in the game. As long as they take lessons with you, they're still in the game.
Right, yeah.
I've had people take lessons from me for a decade and never practiced.
Yeah.
But I would have, you should, and here are some, I'm happy with this.
Yeah.
And you go, okay. Because that is what gives them happiness.
Right.
So if you look at your weekly schedule, you can find 20 minutes, sometimes more, hopefully more. But you schedule it, and you got it. Every week can be different. Every day could be different.
Yeah. Well, it's been absolutely inspirational talking to you.
Yeah,
I
for
can't
real.
tell you how much I've enjoyed this episode, and I'm just gonna plug the hell out of it, because I think that everyone who I know who's a musician should listen to this episode. It's littered with like actual genuine knowledge and gems. So thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it, Christopher.
I've really
you're
enjoyed it. You guys are
inspiration.
amazing.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You got anything coming up?
You know what? We are just full on focus on this site. The funny thing is, we started this project at the end of 2019. It
Yeah.
took us maybe a year to create it.
Yeah.
We beta tested the master class to 50 musicians, music students, educators from all over the country. They said this was great, this sucked, fix this, do this. So we reshot the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Did all of the interviews. We have almost 50 Rockstar Q&As in the queue. We have all these musicianship videos that we're doing, but the site has really only been live for like the past 6 months.
Yeah.
So for us, it's been like, I can't wait to share it with the world. And so
Yeah.
now we're sharing it. We're getting into the internet marketing and reaching out to people in different platforms and schools. And we're just so excited for people to understand this and to have this be part of their musical adventure.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Is there? I think all we've got left to do is just where are we playing?
Shamelessly plug Killbillies.
Yeah. So we've got. Let's see what's going on.
We've got at least
we've got
3 shows.
Friday night, we're
We
at
got 2 on
O'Shea's.
Saturday.
We have
Yeah.
3 shows this weekend. We have O'Shea's on Friday night.
Yeah.
Then we are at Sailfish Brewery in Fort Pierce Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
And then from there, we're going to Meg O'Malley's in Melbourne Saturday night.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then
Sunday, are you playing somewhere?
I also
solo?
wanted to talk about on October 15th, Bark Back
Oh,
is
yeah.
happening. And
Absolutely.
I wanted to see if I could find a flyer for it and just quickly talk about it. Maybe you could splash one up on here because I feel like they deserve a little bit of a plug. You know?
Yeah.
It's,
I'll throw the graphic up.
Yeah. Let me see it. So here it is. Right. Is this the one? Yeah. So it's a wonderful event that they do every year,
It's put on by Spread the Dub.
put on by Spread the Dub and Jacqueline Batcher, and it's got a whole load of bands playing. We got there's a Box Elder reunion.
Oh,
tonight.
yeah, that's huge.
And,
That's huge.
Yeah, and a whole load of other bands, but you'll be able to see them on the graphic that goes up on the screen.
Yeah, and all the all the proceeds and everything go to local animal shelter. I think it's Peggy Adams, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the one that I know Jacqueline Batcher's involved in.
Yeah.
Who is Mick Rude from Spread the Dub's mum.
Yeah.
And they do a great job with it. It's always really, really good fun, and it's always busy, and it's a local music kind of like our 561 Music Festival is boosting local music.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's really nothing that isn't positive about that event. Loads of great bands playing. Loads of our friends will be there. We're playing it. It's going to be cool.
It's going to be really fun.
Where is
I'm
it?
looking forward.
This
Year it is at it's at the park over in Lake Worth.
Bryant Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty big.
What is it,
event.
October 12th, you said?
15th?
15th.
Ooh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
We got to go.
And
go?
yeah, my dad is actually going to be in town, so I think my dad
that's
might
awesome.
come.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's going to be here for a week, and then my mom's going to be here the week after. It's really weird. It just ended up working out like that, but I get them one at a time, which is quite
That's
nice.
great.
Yeah.
great.
Totally. All right, so thanks, Christopher. Thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
a wonderful time.
And
Yeah.
as usual, to all our listeners, and if you're watching us on YouTube, etc., like, subscribe, go to 561music.com. You can follow us on there. We have sponsorship opportunities for the podcast. You can also just send us money because you love us, and we could use the money. So
Yeah, we can use it for all sorts of things to make this podcast better, to make the festival better.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just one other thing I wanted to bring up. We were talking to Danielle, our social media girl, today, and we have this idea, and she posted about it today. So I just wanted to bring some attention to it. That since the inception of the podcast, we have been all about local bands playing original music and local artists playing original music, and we really wanted to shed a light on that. But I've been feeling lately like, not that we've been shunning cover bands, but I do feel like we're so hyper focused on original music, And I just wanted to put a little spotlight on the cover bands. There's a lot of really good cover bands here in town that are working musicians. I mean, hell, we're an original band that plays a lot of covers as well. And so, there's a lot of cover bands that are really, really good locally, and they're working musicians, they're working bands, they're making money, they're doing the thing, they're keeping people entertained.
Yeah, it's their livelihood and their lives.
Yeah, so we had Danielle put a post up, and basically we just wanna give them a little bit of love, man. So we want if you're in a cover band, if you have some really cool, fun, unique versions of cover songs that you've done, whether it's an audio file or it's a video that of you playing somewhere, and it's a cool, unique version of a cover song, send it to us. We want to start putting some social media stuff together with cover songs. So
absolutely, it's a great idea, man. Yeah, you're full of them, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or it? I can't remember.
I'm full. I'm definitely full of it. Full of it. Yes.
All right. So brilliant. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And this was an amazing episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.